Hey guys, my name is Anson, and today I am going to show you guys how to do some Java programming. And I thought, you know what, I myself am actually currently a computer science student. I'm actually taking a Java class right now, and I've learned a lot about Java. And I feel like, with all the knowledge that I've acquired, I figured, you know what, why not make a video? That way I can help myself review, I can help others that may want to learn how to code, and it's just awesome for everyone. So everyone wins. So I right over here have written a simple program over here, okay? And I'll try my best to explain everything as much as possible. So let's just take a look at this program really quick, okay? Or let's take a look at this program and then we can write our own program later. So let's start off with from the top to bottom, right? That's just how the Java compiler, which is what allows our program to be compiled and then we can execute it. That's just what it does. So we read from the top to bottom. So we start off with public class, right? And so what this means is a public class is pretty much mandatory for every Java program. Okay, it's pretty much like you need a Java, you need a class. Okay, basically, the public class is kind of like a class header, or it is actually a class header, and it basically marks like the beginning of a class definition. Okay, so it's kind of like the class definition or the class header. It's kind of like a container. So think about it like this. So this is your class, okay? We use curly braces to contain, like we use the curly braces to act like it's enclosing everything that's inside the container, right? So like this right here opens the container, this right here closes the container, and inside this container we have our main method. Okay, this right here is a method, right? So we have public static void main string brackets args parentheses, and then even in the method we also enclose it with curly braces. But the main thing that you want to worry about right now is what's inside the main method. Now, don't worry about public class, don't worry about public static void. You don't have to worry about that right now because right now you're still learning. You don't need to focus too much about that. We're just going to show you like, the basics first, and then maybe later on we can get in depth on it. So just know that public class is mandatory for every program, as well as public static void main. You always need to have a main method in your program. You can have as many methods as you want, but you always have to have your main method, and just don't worry about void or what these things mean. Just understand that you need these two in every single Java program, and make sure you enclose them with curly braces too. Alright, and also remember the method pretty much goes inside the container. So just think about it like this. So I have my main method, right? And we just said that the public class is like the class definition, and we just also mentioned that the method header, I'm sorry, the main method is pretty much where we put all of our statements in there, right? So let's say for example if I want to write some programs, okay? So what I would do is I would write everything inside here. Now you would be like, oh, how would I know what to write inside the program? Like, what would you know? And that's completely up to you. You as the programmer can do whatever you want with a program. You can write whatever you want. You can do anything, and that's just the fun. That's just like the best thing about programming, and it's just so much fun. So you know what? I'll run this program right now. I'm gonna compile it and then I'll run it just to show you guys what exactly it's doing. So right over here I have x is equal to 1, y equals 2, right? It's just like math, how when they give you like when they give you like a equation and they declare what this equals to, like they give you like a set of numbers and what it's equal to. And then over here I did an operation called x plus y, and then I want the program to print it out, and it's 3. So 1 plus 2 is 3. So think about it like this: x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2. That's just the same thing as substituting 1 for x and then 2 for y, and then you just add 1 plus 2 or x plus y, and then you print out the result of it, and it's 3, right? So it's pretty simple. Now, you know what? Let's say I want to change it. So let me delete all that, and then we can compile it, and we can run the program too, and you can see nothing happens because we didn't write anything yet. We didn't write any algorithms inside the method header or inside the main method which is over here. Like I said, do not worry about what this means. Like, stop looking at that. Just focus on what we're going to be doing right now. So the first thing that you need to understand when it comes to Java is for any program, you always have to declare variables, right? You always have to declare something, whether or not you want to use it or not. Even when it comes to, trust me, you always just have to declare something. If you want to declare, whether or not you want to write, numbers or words or characters, you have to declare it. So, And you're wondering like, but how do I declare a variable? Well, the first, probably in every single computer science class, or like the first thing that you always learn is how to declare an integer or declaring an integer. So an integer in Java is a primitive data type. We're not going to go in depth on that yet, but just know that integer, which is written like this, is a type of data type in Java, which integers is pretty straightforward, is numbers that from negative numbers all the way up to positive numbers, and they're not decimals, they're not rational, they're just -1, -2, -3, etc., etc. So you can declare an integer, right? Now you would think, oh, so I declared an integer, so I can easily just run the program, right? No, you're wrong. Well, even though we have a data type, well, we don't know what kind of data type it is. You have to give it a variable, like you have to declare a variable with the data type. And to do that, all you do is you write integer, which denoted by int, right? And then you just name it whatever you want. You can name it, I'm gonna just name it example, right? So think about it like this. Earlier we had integer x, y, and we set those equal to 1, 2 respectively. However, in this case we named the example, and example is pretty much what's called a programmer defined name or an identifier, right? Which you can just name whatever you want. It helps you memorize, what you're going to use. It helps you memorize what it's going to be used for later on in the program. So just know that you can name this anything you want, and then we can compile it, right? And then now we have our integer, we have our variable declared. Okay. Now let's say, for example, we learned how to declare variables, right? And let's declare some more variables. So let's declare, I can name it whatever I want. What's going on with calendar, right? Integer pillow, integer blah blah blah, right? Now, one thing that you cannot do when declaring variables is you cannot start off a variable with a number. Okay, that's incorrect. You can't. And they'll even tell you you cannot do that. It's illegal. Okay, you cannot. It's part of this Java syntax. You cannot do that. You cannot also start off with illegal characters like this. Okay, watch. You cannot do that. You also cannot start off with illegal characters. You cannot start off. I mean, you can start off with a dollar sign, but it's not recommended. And I'm pretty sure this will work. Or yeah, it will work. Yep. However, it's not recommended to use a dollar sign because I don't know. That's what I just read in the textbook. But you can also start. You can start with underscores though, right? So right now we're just declaring a bunch of variables, and that's pretty much it. We're just declaring variables, and I can name these whatever I want. Now let's say, for example, I want to use these variables. Like I want to give these variables what is called a literal, which is a type of value respected to its primitive data type. So let's say, for example, integer. Let's just call it, month. Let's say I want to give it a number called. Let's say I want to give it a number 3, right? Now, like I said, I could have named this whatever I want. I'm just thinking whatever is right off the top of my head. So integer month is equal to 3, which is the same thing as saying in mathematical terms x is equal to this number, right? Except now our x is just renamed as month. So month is equal to 3. I could have named it x. I could have named it zap. I could have named it Rubik's Cube. I could have named it whatever I want. I could name it this. I could name it that if I wanted to, right? It doesn't matter. I can name it whatever I want, okay? Now let's do something cool with it. We want to declare variables, and we also do want to use them, right? Now, just remember, before you use a variable, you always have to initialize it, which is what we just did right now. We declared a variable, okay, and we initialized it, and what that means is we gave it a value. Now, you don't necessarily have to initialize it right now. You can initialize it later on, but when you want to use that variable for something, so for example, we're going to do system out println, and I'm going to go in depth on this in another video. I'm just going to show you guys really quick, okay? So I want to use this variable, and what this does right here, if you're wondering, what this does is it prints out, it just prints out data, right? You can print out strings, you can print out numbers, anything, right? I want this to print out whatever is in here, okay? Whatever is stored in this variable, I want it to print out that. So you can compile it, you can run, and you'll see 3. Wow, and let's change it up a little bit. Let's do compile. run, and we'll load that. Wow, that's pretty cool, right? Let's actually declare some more variables. Let's declare variables, but no, let's not initialize it. So let's do x, y, z just to, just to show you guys how much alike this is like to math. Okay, now I'm gonna delete that. Now I want to print out x, y, and z. Okay, let's print out x first. Let's also print out y second. Okay, let's do all of that. Now you'll see that you have an error and it says the local x may not have been initialized. And why is that? And remember what we just mentioned earlier, that before you can use a variable, which is what we're trying to do, before you can use a variable in any situation, you always have to initialize it first. However, you can declare a variable and you can initialize it later. But since we're trying to use this right now in this case, you can't use it because we haven't given a value. You have to declare it, and we can declare it right now. And you don't have to, declare. You don't have to initialize it this way. You can declare it first, and then you can initialize it like this. You don't have to rewrite this, and don't get confused with that. A lot of people do tend to get confused with that, which is completely fine because you're still learning. But if you're doing this, what you're basically doing is you're redeclaring another variable, and you don't want to do that. Instead, what you want to do is you declared your variable x. Now all we're doing is initializing. So basically all we're doing is saying, hey, you know what, x is equal to any number we want it to be. So let's say x is equal to 5. And then we can compile it. Okay, so that worked. Now we have to give y a value in order to use it. Now let's give y a value of 4, and let's give z a value of 10. Okay, and then we can compile it, and then we can run the program, and then you'll see that for all the values that we gave to all these variables right over here, we printed out respectively, and we have 5, 4, 10, 5, 4, 10. And that's just basically how you declare variables, how you print them out, and how you initialize them. So hopefully you guys did learn something, and I apologize again if I'm not that great with explaining things, but hopefully this video did help you out, and I'll see you on my next video. Peace.